Science allows us to be curious, right? It allows us to just kind of try to figure out the world. Those little sparks of discovery are really kind of the magical part of moving through life.
Have you ever asked yourself if the markings on a dog's face, like colorful spots, patches, patterns, or even eyebrows, could influence how they communicate with us and also how we perceive them?
Today, in 2024, dogs are filling so many roles across human society that they never did before. And in order for us to have successful relationships with them, we really need to be able to understand what it is that they're trying to communicate too.
I'm Dr. Annika Bremhorst, a canine scientist and professional dog behavior consultant who has spent many years studying how dogs communicate with us. I'm sure the study by Courtney Sexton and colleagues offers new insights that could improve the way we observe and interpret our canine companions' expressions and behaviors. Some dogs might have faces that make it easier or harder for us to read their expressions. This study by Courtney Sexton and her colleagues dives deep into these questions, exploring whether dogs with simpler, plain, or less colorful faces are more or less expressive than those with more complex faces.
We know and we've seen, and there's tons of science out there that shows dogs are really, really good at understanding the way we communicate and adapting to our systems of communication and responding appropriately. We found that across 4 different conditions, the dog just at rest, the dog at rest with their owner making eye contact with them, the owner speaking to their dog using a phrase that was unfamiliar, just kind of, about ancient Egyptian culture that dogs wouldn't be familiar with. And then what we called a hypersocial condition, where it was, familiar words and phrases. Across all of them, when we added up the number of expressions, we used a coding system called DogFAX, the facial action coding system.
So this is a very objective method to measure those small, tiny movements in a dog's face across the ears, the eyes, and in the mouth region. And I worked with this method a lot in my own research, so I'm sure I will cover it in a future video and describe it in more detail for you. So what they did was they looked at whether there's a connection between how complex the dog's facial colorful patterns are, so the score, and the facial expressions they showed in these 4 situations.
We found that there was a slight difference between dogs who had highly marked faces and plain faces, where those with the plainer faces were slightly statistically significantly more expressive overall.
In their study, they involved over 100 dogs, and for each of these dogs, they assessed the complexity of the facial colors. So to do this, they developed a so-called facial complexity score. This helped to objectively measure how complex each dog's face was regarding their colorful patterns and patches.
Another one was that older dogs tended to be slightly less expressive than younger dogs. Some hypotheses there could be, as dogs age, they, can be in discomfort or a little less attentive, or perhaps they just know how best to get what they want or need from their people without making tons of expressions. So there's that component. We also found that in subgroups, working dogs or very highly skilled or dogs who had gone through significant training tended to be a bit more expressive. What does that mean in the real world? I think part of it is a matter of perception, right? So we as the humans observing, even using an objective system to code those movements, it's probably easier for us to see those, markings on the plainer face dogs without all of the noise of things.
He also asked whether this complexity of their facial colors affects how well dog owners perceive how expressive their dogs are.
People tended to be pretty good at judging their dog's level of expressivity. So we asked folks, to rank how expressive they thought their dog was, and we compared that to the objective score that we got. And on the whole, they were pretty good. We did see that among adult dogs, that mid group of adult dogs, people who had plainer face dogs were slightly better at judging the expressivity as well. So again, whether that's because they're actually making more movements or we're just seeing them more clearly, that's the next question.
Let's take a step back and think about the broader implications of this study. For dog professionals like trainers and behaviourists, this research could influence how we assess and train dogs, especially those with complex facial markings. It could mean that we rethink behavior assessment approaches to better detect and interpret dog behavior and respond to a dog's needs. This research might also play a role when it comes to selecting dogs for different situations where key communication is crucial and expressivity is key to their role, such as in specific types of working dogs. This research could also help us when developing exciting new technologies such as AI-powered apps that help us decode and observe your dog's expressions or assist dog professionals and veterinarians in better understanding canine behavior. As we wrap up, it's clear that a dog's face is more than just cute. It's a powerful tool for communication. And while dogs with simpler markings may appear more expressive, every dog has a unique way of connecting with us. What about your dog? So does your dog have a face that is more plain or has more complex facial markings? And have you noticed how this affects the way your dog communicates with you? So I'm really curious to hear, so please share your thoughts in the comments below. If you'd like to read the article we wrote about the study, you can find it on our Dogs and Science platform. There's just a link below in the description. And if you're ready to dive deeper, I've also included the link to the full scientific paper for you to explore, also in the description below. I'm Dr. Annika Bremhorst, and I'll see you next time. Let's keep learning and growing together for the love of dogs and science.